This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pointy Bakery. If you're located in the pointy area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pointy Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, perfect. All right, we are back on Discord. So happy that it's so funny because like when I popped on, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but then it was like having the update, and then thankfully the cameras are working again. I actually liked the audio of Zoom better. So it's weird because like each application has like its pros and cons, right? So if you and I are talking at the same time, Discord only does one at a time. That's why it like glows green, then you go green, then I go green.
Yeah.
But then I noticed that, but it won't like, it'll like cannibalize the other person's, no, it won't cannibalize the other person's dialogue. So if I'm speaking and then it won't interrupt me, it'll have like a little weird flash, okay? But then I noticed that in Zoom, when I was doing the edits, we could talk at the exact same time and it'd capture both audios. So it sounded more like organic in that way.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like we could talk over each other. Whereas when I'm editing these ones, it's always like a weird pause between you and I, which is not bad. Like, I mean, if we're just more cognizant of it, we just wait for the other one to talk. But I found that the other one, it just sounded more fluid. But the drawback was, you're right, the phasing was so weird on that one. Like the Zoom phase, this is way better. Like it's capturing a perfect. Remember, like half my ear was gone, and it was like it couldn't figure it out. So it'd be really cool if there was like a platform that did both. It was like, I don't know, but like Discord's the one that I guess like, why do we use Discord? That's actually a really good question.
I don't know how,
because like everyone uses Zoom. You know?
Well, Zoom was more professional, I guess, because Discord was in the world of gaming,
and that's why I chose it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really just like we're just trying to keep that.
But I think it's I guess so. But I think it's like Discord is, you can have like bigger communities in it.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, right. Like the channels, and then it's like people can join the channels. Yeah. Okay, that's true. That's fair. Because I remember, like a couple of years ago, we were talking about online communities in a professional setting, not like for you and I. And one person brought up Discord, and I was like, "Oh, you're a gamer." And then he was like, "Yeah, it's like such an amazing platform." And then I was thinking, like, yeah, because we record the podcast on Discord, but why didn't we choose Zoom? Like, it made no sense. Maybe it was like free as well. Like,
it is free. Yeah, that's another thing too. That's true.
Yeah, it's just weird that we chose Discord. And so, well, actually, you chose it. You're the tech dude, so which is so funny. Everyone thinks that I'm like a techie. I'm like, no, I really just steal it from you. You just like tell me what works and what doesn't work. You know, I'm like, all right, we'll go with that one. Yeah. Actually, I have a funny story about that. When I was traveling with Wob for that video edit to BC, I was like in the beginning, I was like, "What's in your bag?" Like, if you watch the video, it's like me asking what's in his bag, and it's actually so boring. And I was like, "Wait, I thought you were gonna have like these compartments." And he's like, "No, you're like the techie dude compared to me." And I was like, but the perception was like, "Oh, you're a videographer. You must like
right.
You know,
yeah.
But it's like this. People think I'm techie. I'm like, I literally just like I ask you like, what tech should I use? Okay, this is the one. All right, we're gonna go with this one. You know what I mean? It's just funny. All right. Anyways, so what should we cover first? Is there anything that happened that you think was crazy? I do want to ask you about the Dubai underwater thing.
Sure.
I want some clarifications.
Yeah.
But cool. Start there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, Dubai underwater. So I sent it to you, and then you're like, "Oh, that's not the reason why." The cloud seeding, like the propaganda stuff, and then I saw another reel saying it was cloud seeding again. So I'm like, okay, either we're all getting the story wrong, or like I don't know, like what is like if it's not cloud seeding, that's the thing, and it's being pushed around the internet. This is a great example of people using the internet to manage information.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what did you hear about it? Like why?
It's a sensational thing to say, cloud seeding,
Okay, fair, totally, yeah,
right?
just like me. I was like, dude, what?
Yeah, yeah, no. At first, I thought that too, right? Because that was what was being said. But then, if you look at legitimate sources, no one's mentioning cloud seeding.
Interesting. Okay, so what did you see
Because
as
when
the issue?
I called my brother and he's like, "Oh, the news didn't say that it was cloud seeding." So that's when I started to question. It's like, okay, there is something going on with the messaging on social media because you're
Oh,
pushing a
this is
fear
cool.
tactic of science or technology.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what was
But
the actual
and
cause?
I
Did you
think
find it out or no?
yeah, it's well, they didn't do any cloud seeding on the day of the storm because they have radars that there's a storm coming, and also it's not only
Oh.
Dubai that got hit. Neighboring countries and other Gulf countries were also hit by the storm. So
So it's
Oman was also flooded.
climate change.
It's climate change.
Wow. That's crazy. Oh, and because they used cloud seeding, they just sourced it back there like it must have been cloud seeding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's also
Wow.
like people don't understand how cloud seeding works. And it's not like this is like a new technology. It's been used, I think, for a few decades now. And
Cloud seeding?
yeah, yeah, yeah. US also
Okay.
uses it as well. They're trying to bring water back into the canyon. It's all like getting drier, so they do more snow, or they try to
Okay.
affect that there should be a little bit more snow in some, I don't know, Colorado area or something like that, in order to
Okay.
generate more spring rainfall or spring water flow.
So what's cloud seeding? It's just like
If the
you
clouds
build a
have,
cloud.
yeah, no, 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 not you're not building a cloud. The clouds are already there. You're just trying to affect the cloud to make sure it drops as much, all the liquids that it has.
Oh, so it's not like so when I thought about it, it was like you're literally manufacturing a cloud
No,
and then that cloud rains.
no,
That
you
was
have,
my perception of it.
yeah. So the clouds
Okay.
have to be forming already,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
you're triggering that to create some rain. But if a
The cloud.
storm, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, so it's like steroids for clouds.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
But then, like when you see it in the radar, there's a storm coming. There's no point in doing a.
Right. Okay, so this is literally just a climate change scenario in
Hmm.
action.
Yeah,
And then it just got hijacked for sensationalization.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that's really interesting to know and a great example of how you can like shape information for for like people. Like it's just like a
Hmm.
microcosm of what we're doing as a macrocosm of people. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
yeah.
small example is like that's why I want to bring it up because when you said it's not cloud seeding, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. This actually dovetails into UAPs, not actually the UAP topic, but the same kind of mechanism.
Hmm.
So there's two opposing sides of the UAP front. You have the disclosure people, which is um like David Grush, Lou Elizondo, like the official people,
Yeah,
right? The people that come from the government. And then you have Stephen Greer, who's on the opposing side. And he's been building like documentaries about like alien stuff for like years and years. And then I was watching his Theories of Everything podcast, the dude from Toronto, like I brought him a few
right.
times. And he mentioned like, oh, they took down my Joe Rogan podcast episode. So I was like, oh, maybe there's something crazy that happened on that podcast episode. So I go back and I listened to the episode because I was like, people found like it's just like the
Hmm.
leaked
Yeah, yeah,
files,
yeah.
you're able to find it. So I listened to the whole episode and I was like, oh, dude, this is some crazy. Like, there was nothing in there that would be like, there's nothing crazy about it that would warrant. I'd be like, oh, I'd warrant that this would be taken down. Maybe there is something going on. Who knows? Or like, because we don't know why Joe Rogan took it down, but it's a part of like his deal in
Hmm.
order to get on Spotify. So then I continued listening to the Theories of Everything podcast. And basically, his position is that there's this big cabal the oil and gas industry that's keeping these technologies down because they want to hide UAPs because if we figure out their technology, it would change the way we live our world. Okay. Very legitimate. Makes total sense. Right. And then you have the other side of the coin, which is like Lou Elizondo, David Grush, which is saying that they're stealing our tax money and then they're spending it on these black budget projects that are related to UAPs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But both sides say that the other one's lying. So you have David Grush saying that they're counterintelligence trying to create a War of the World scenario. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're trying to make it evil, right?
Yeah.
And then that side is saying that he's a charlatan making money off of the UAP subject.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was like, who's correct here? Like we know you're both sourcing from the same information, but you're presenting the stories very differently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't think it's a War of the World scenario, like he like David Grush says. I mean, sorry, like Stephen Greer says, the guy who got his yeah. And I also don't think that it is Stephen Greer, like how he says that they're all like psyop people.
Mm-hmm.
I like it makes no sense that there would be like so many people coordinated in this. You would have so many scientists talking about it, right? And then here was the kickoff point. So Joe Rogan was like, "I believe that you believe this."
Mm-hmm.
Right, because it was so sensational. Like, oh, there's this cabal and like all these people. I have like thousands of videos of UAPs and I have thousands of testimonies. So his theory is that if you meditate in a certain way, you can actually give coordinates of where you are on Earth, and then the UAPs will come.
Mm-hmm.
And this has happened like multiple times. Like he has like evidence for it allegedly,
right?
And people practice it around the world. Okay. And he says that we talk through our consciousness, which is really telepathy. It's one giant mind. So like we think you and I have a mind, but it's actually a collective mind. We just hear it appears like separate, right? Again, it's more like yoga-ish, his point of view.
Yeah,
but then when you look at the David Grush stuff and the Merge podcast, the Weaponized, they're all talking from a scientific perspective. So it's really hard to merge the two because I'm like, you guys are giving me real evidence here, and then this guy's saying a crazy story that's making a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then it goes back to the cloud seeding. So you were like, I'm going to look at the scientific data, which is like that side that's doing the disclosure, black budget projects.
Sure.
And then the Stephen Greer's like the sensational, like it's cloud seeding. And you're like, oh, maybe it is cloud seeding. Okay. So I love podcasts because they're so long that you really can hear what somebody's thinking. So the Theories of Everything guy, he's a mathematician by trade, but he does all this video stuff. So then he said, like, can you just explain to me? Because he's like, oh, we tap into the 0 point energy. It's very much like it's like static electricity. There's like 1,000 kilowatts and like. But then as he's saying it, the Theories of Everything guy is so clever. He'll like put the actual fact insert. Like he'll pause the video and he'll be like, this is actually the number that should have been referenced. But you know what I mean? And you're like, hold on. Like you're fact checking him as he's saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked him like, so how does 0 point energy work? And he's like, well, I don't want to get in the weeds. And then when somebody says that, it's like, okay, you don't really know.
Yeah, right.
Right. And then the Theories of Everything guy, he's like, well, I'm really good friends with Avi Loeb from Harvard. Like I can connect you two and you guys can talk about this science. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, because then like they'll silence you and they'll kill you. And then like, so he's getting more sensational. And I'm like, okay, now I'm with Joe, where it's like, I believe that you believe that.
Right.
But is that real now? Yeah. And like, this is the weird game we play with kind of everything. But like the cloud seeding and like, it's like conspiracies they kind of set you up for that. It's like you really could go one way or the other.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, we need to look at the facts and like what are our best scientists saying, Yeah. It's weird. It's weird when you think about it like that. Cause you're like, this is such a, like, this is like how cults are made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that's
right.
how a lot of the social media works, right? For that.
Yeah. Right. Like, but then it got me thinking about the worry of where are we headed if we're just bombarded with information so quickly. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't check any of that stuff. I just sent it to you right away. I was like, is this real?
Yeah.
And like,
well, like, yeah, I mean, I had even then at first I thought, oh, maybe it's cloud. Like I didn't think automatically cloud seeding. I heard something on the social media saying cloud seeding. Yeah. So like when my brother asked me, I just said like, yeah, cloud seeding.
Oh, so you were in it too.
I was probably cloud seeding. And then he said, like, then he mentioned that in the news. They weren't mentioning that. So then that's when I looked into it. It's like, oh, right. Legitimate sources are not saying
Yeah,
this because
right.
there's no evidence of that.
But here's the crazy part. It's like you have this information coming at you so quickly that the legitimate sources actually take time. So it's like they were saying that
Actually,
reporters in the
right.
yeah,
No, like that's the issue with breaking news. People jump to
yeah,
conclusion
exactly.
before it takes time for the evidence to come out.
Yeah, totally. And when I was taking that PR certificate, one thing that they brought up was everyone's a reporter now. This was like 2014 when I took it, so many years ago. And it's interesting because now we're seeing that ramifications of what they were saying in class, which is like because of Twitter and stuff, now X, you can just like send something out. So they weren't talking about it from like a truth perspective. They were like, reporters in the future are gonna have a harder job because like
Yes.
you're competing with people who are like just
Yep.
tweeting really
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
like my job. So it was more like an economics thing, like your job in the future will be tough. But then they didn't think about the ramifications, which is like, well, how do we consume truth now? Which is now what we're kind of seeing because it's like, yeah, I can send you something super quickly and
Yeah.
then it'll go around, but that's like that's not real, bro.
Yeah. That's why it's like when you find the real reporting is still done by actual newspapers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
no,
all
yeah.
all
Like,
the sensational stuff can be picked out from that and just focus on a specific thing. But like all true reporting is still done by those newspaper companies.
yeah, totally. Because they get like salaries and then they build the actual story. They have like years to build it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hard because now that we're gonna head more into like the Apple Vision Pro, the metaverse is like, oh, bro, how are we gonna keep up with this? Because like it's just coming up at you so, but it's like a double-edged sword because the information is also valid. I'd want like I was thinking about how like before it seems so archaic. If I don't know a word now, right? Somebody will say something and I'm like, oh crap, what is that? And I'll just like Google it. I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay, that's what they meant, right? Sometimes it's like it's a little off, so it's not the best explanation for it, but like whatever. Or like if I'm trying to prove a point. So like, okay, this thing came up where we're arguing for a design issue, right? So when I make something, I use like first a scientific approach, like, or what are the psychology theories behind design, okay? And then I put my own spin on it. So I'm like, okay, the artistic aspect of it, right? So there's this thing called hierarchy of visual elements or something like that when you're talking about advertising. So like you want to make the picture number one, the text number two, and then the logo number three, like in terms of sizing, so that your eye is tracking correctly, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I made that. And then this one person's like, I think the logo should be bigger. And I was like, at first I was like, no, I can't do that because it'll be too difficult. I tried to like, whatever. And then people started getting on board, like, oh, yeah, I agree with them. Yeah, I agree with them. I'm like, okay, guys. So I threw out the art. I thankfully through the internet, I just Googled it. I'm like, what is that? What is that thing I remember from university? And then I was able to find like articles about it, like scientific articles. And I was like, actually, I'm following this, which is like peer-reviewed science called eye tracking, and then not only did I do that, but I also threw an Apple advertisement there. I'm like, notice how they're using the same elements. I've actually used the same elements of the thing, and then that kind of like shut down the argument. But it's like I would have never been able to do that before without the internet. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like it's great that you can access information so quickly because like, how do I validate myself?
Yeah.
But then it's like it's too much information, where it's like, oh, this information is incorrect. You know what I'm saying? There's actually one thing that I used to do. It's so dope. Like in for school projects, because I never really took them too seriously. Because marketing is all about like, can I prove it to you, right? So I will make a color something, and then like I'll just Google this color means this, and then I'll find any random person that said that was that, and I'm like, sourced.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? But like, we're not talking science here. So like, if it was like,
if
it was real science, you'd be like, dude, this is a junk article. But it looks like I have a bunch of sources. I'm like, hey man, how you gonna argue with science?
Yeah.
Beauty of the internet, but also the perils of the internet, because you're like,
yeah, it's we're
you know what I mean?
on a what do we call it? The rope.
Yeah, right. It's great when it's great,
Yes,
but then like
there are
I
issues
just
with it too. Yeah.
right. But what is the solve? Like, do you actually think that Elon Musk's like what he introduced that like tweet verification thing? So like if somebody tweets something, you can like tweet or like verify it or something like that. Do you remember that thing he was trying to
Yeah,
do?
it's community. Something's called
Oh yeah,
community
yeah,
verify or something like that.
yeah.
It can work. Yeah. Uh, I don't know how exactly it works. Right. To know if it's
Or
picking up.
Wikipedia. What about this? So Wikipedia, if an information piece is incorrect, because like again, I'm hearing two sides of this argument. So like people who are proponents of Wikipedia, like I think Michio Kaku is one, or Neil deGrasse Tyson. I can't remember which one, but they're like, if there's an incorrect thing, it's quicker for us to verify that, like or correct it. So if
In
I write something on a Wikipedia page, somebody can correct it,
right.
right? But then you hear people like Joe Rogan and like all these celebrities, like my Wikipedia page is incorrect. I'm like, yeah, but you're also a person. Like if we're talking science here, it seems more vettable
Mm-hmm.
if it's science. Like you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I feel like personal information nobody really cares about too much.
I think it
But
depends on
then,
maybe it depends on the
right?
topic. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if we're talking about like physics equations, like I'm sure a scientist will quickly vet that out, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But
And
do you remember
I
when,
think
yeah,
in Wikipedia they give sources, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like some people don't like it, some people do like it.
It's a good resource. I guess you would have to then verify those sources too, right? I guess.
Yeah, and you have to like delve deeper into
Yeah, but they're
the.
not like shying away from the sources they give you, so you can look into them.
That's true too, but who's really gonna look at the
I
sources?
get,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
but
Like,
that's up
it's
to the
tough.
person. I know.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. We are again like double-edged sword. It's great when it's great, but I just really wonder, like, are we gonna be controlled in the future through information? Like, or are we being controlled right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe we don't.
No,
Okay,
I
yeah,
think there's always been a control for information.
right, exactly. Yeah, true. Like the paper printers and like they're always like doing something to manage it. This is just the new form. It's almost like the principles are always the same for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
We just have like different mechanisms of action. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. True.
It's like once it was paper, now it's digital.
Mm-hmm.
But the same principles there. Like we try and lie and
Yeah.
adjust our information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Quick pause. I drank too much Monster. We'll be really quick. Really quick. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you also about have you or I sent it to you. Did you watch the UAP over Ukraine thing? I heard that in the UAP podcast, and I was like,
You sent it
no
to me?
way this happened. Yeah, I was in the group thing. Maybe you just haven't seen it yet, but basically, people were saying that they saw a UAP over the Ukraine battle. It was like a year ago, and I googled it. I was like, no way. And you can find the full on video. It's like, no, that's definitely what the style of UAP that everyone's talking about, which is like a thin disc that's just hovering over the sky,
Mm-hmm.
and then it like shoots off. So basically, what the way they captured it was they have these drones for like warfare, like very advanced drones, and then the drone caught it on
Okay.
camera.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's like nobody's gonna talk about this. You know what I mean? Like, bro, it's huge. Like, after the podcast, I'm actually gonna post it too. I just haven't had time. But if you look at it, you're like, this is exactly what everyone has been talking about. The description's the same, but we're so focused on the war that it's like,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
like this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because then I was like, I was thinking about this too. I'm like, what if there's nobody inside? What if it's like that is literally the thing. So you know how like it's almost like this. So we'll see like a stingray
Yeah.
in the ocean, and you're like, what's inside the stingray? But you don't realize that it is the like the stingray is
Right.
the
I
thing.
see. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see, you know what I mean? It's like, what are these UAPs are like? No, that is the thing. It's like there's nothing inside. Like that's what it looks like. That's like the
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Like
Yeah.
that's
Whatever
the
that. Yeah. Yeah.
entity
Yeah. Right.
itself. You know what I mean? Which would be very interesting because then it's like that totally skews the perspective because we think it's like, oh, it's just people coming back, oh, it's just us, whatever, whatever. But what if that ship is literally in and itself the entire entity? So
Mm-hmm.
then what would that mean as like you know what I mean? It's like they really wouldn't care at all about us because it's
Right.
so huge. It has like the power to like move back and forth. It's probably just like, what are these humans doing? Oh, that's crazy, and just like
Mm-hmm.
leaves.
I don't
I don't know. Yeah, like
know.
thoughts, like because there's a whole new perspective, right? Because we're always
Yeah,
trying to like
yeah,
anthropomorphize it, like it's humanoids and like oh, it's an
yeah.
alien. You know, it's like
Or we also picture ourselves to be more important than anything, right?
mhm,
They're here for us, or they're
that's my
stealing
point. Yeah,
from
yeah,
us.
exactly. Yeah, right. And then it's like, or maybe like it isn't. Maybe that's the actual entity, and then the things that we're seeing are its version for us. It's like us creating an ant to talk to the ants.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if I walk past an ant colony, I'm like, oh, dude, we're totally different. But if I want to communicate with ants, I'm probably gonna have to create like pheromones or like,
Right.
which is like their
Yeah, yeah,
version
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
talking, like
yeah.
a little mini ant that can like walk around the ants. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like maybe we're getting this whole thing wrong, and it's like it's creating those things for us to talk to us,
Mm. That's interesting.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. It's because I really don't see them as a threat anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they were a threat, they'd be doing something for a long. It's like it seems like they've been here for thousands of years. Like
True. Yeah.
so
Take
many.
thousands of years to like. Where's the threat then?
Right? Yeah. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what Lou Elizondo was saying too. That's why when Stephen Greer was like, "Oh yeah, they're trying to paint this narrative of it being a threat," and then Lou Elizondo was like, "It is a threat." In terms of like what a traditional threat means, it's like it's something that we
Mm-hmm.
have no eyes on. We
Sure.
don't know what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like from that perspective, it's a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, but they've been here for thousands of years. I don't think they're trying to take over.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're just observing. They're just like, oh yeah, that's cool,
Right.
you know. And like even our time scales, right? We think of you're right because we put everything in our own perspective because we are like we think we're the best thing on earth, right? But a tree, the time scale for a tree is like thousands, like it's almost infinite, right? They can
Mm-hmm.
just keep living, right? Whereas us, it's like it's a blip. It's like 80 years.
Yeah.
So what if this like UAP thing? It's like 1,000 years to it. It's like nothing.
Yeah. Possible. Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're really looking at this whole thing from a humanistic perspective. But if you entertain like maybe it's not even human,
Mm-hmm.
then it could literally be anything.
Right. Yeah.
And like maybe it doesn't even perceive threat. It's like does a tree perceive threat? It's just like, oh no, this is happening to me. You know what I'm saying? These are like
Mm-hmm.
humanistic terms.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's all context based, right? So we're gonna
Right?
do
Yeah.
it in what we can understand it as. So.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Like does the hornet nest see another hornet nest as a threat? Or is it more just like, oh, it's my territory? Is that a threat? Like a threat has like
Mm.
connotations towards it, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh, if these multiple plants are gonna try and take us
They're
over, they're
here to
gonna
steal from
oh
us. Da
you
da
know what I
da.
mean?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the hornet is just like, no, you're within my zone, bro. I
Mm-hmm.
need to push you back. Like that's all it is.
Yeah. Boundaries.
Right. Boundaries. Yeah, exactly. And it's but we call it a threat. And it's like, no, it's just exercising boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Weird. Weird when you think about it like this. Okay. Um Now I want to ask you because I'm like, I need your perspective on this because I was kind of like freaking out a bit. I don't know if this is real. World War III, U.S. Ukraine. No, not Ukraine. Sorry, U.S. And Israel. What's there's like something like
Iran.
yeah,
Isn't it
okay.
Iran?
Is that who they're working with? I don't
I don't
really
know
know the
who's
actual
working with who.
geopolitics. So basically, there's like a bombing that was supposed to happen, and then um, everyone was worried like, oh, U.S. is gonna be dragged into this thing. And then I sent you that post, but then it got taken down, where it's like because of the NATO treaty, like U.S. and UK have to jump in. And then my cousin, I sent it to him, and he's like, oh, U.S. just said that they're not gonna back them by retaliation. And I'm like, okay, so maybe this treaty is not really like, you know what I'm saying? We we jump to the conclusion of like, okay, you're part of NATO, so you have to help out. But then it's like you actually don't have to listen to those rules if it's better for like the global consensus of us going to like a massive war.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you think we're actually going to go to a massive war. I don't know. Like,
No.
what is the? Okay, no, but that's the fear mongering you get. I love this. This is like a social media like truthscape podcast. Like, this is actually not what's happening.
Yeah, there's so many things to it too. It's if they're going to a war, Iran wasn't going to. Why did they reveal like they're sending this many missiles? But it takes an hour, like hours to get there, so they have enough time to just
Mm.
take it all down. Iran has to show some force just because of what happened, what they think that happened. But like
Okay.
they don't want to risk their own in the sense of their security, right? Those people are rich. They're not going to. They know that if there's an actual war, that they would actually lose.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like
Because
it was
as soon
more
as
like a
they,
show of
yeah, it
power.
was like as soon as they sent those whatever 300 missile, not 300 missiles, but like mix of missiles and drones, they're like, okay, that's all we're doing.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So it's a flex. They're just like, hey
Yeah,
man, this is what we could do. Yeah, okay. And then my cousin was saying about like Putin and the Iranian guy, something they're like together.
yeah, they're
Like they're
allies in that sense because
like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
no, they've been
Oh,
allies, right? But
okay.
Russia needs Iran for like military aid in that sense, for drones and things like that. But they don't want
Oh,
to. If Iran has to go to war, then Iran's not going to be giving Russia anything because they have to protect themselves,
oh yeah, fair. No, and Zoe, that makes total sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Interesting.
And that would
Okay,
that would hurt Russia because then they'll create more aid to Ukraine in that scenario, in a world war scenario.
it's really like you're trying to mitigate the dominoes. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like if I was a world leader, it's like, okay, if I do this, this would happen here. But then if that happens, then this would happen.
Hmm.
Okay, we really got to think strategically,
Yep.
you know? And okay, so with all that, like as a perspective, like do you foresee like my prediction and what I'm calling is that we're going to see wars played out elsewhere and then we're going to see it affected in our prices. I really don't think it's going to come to some like World War III crazy, like we're not going to be drafted anymore.
No.
Yeah, right. You feel that too.
Yeah. No.
Like even in these countries where it's happening, like the Philippines, like my cousin's like, oh yeah, China's like encroaching, and then like USA was saying like we'll help you, but I'm like that's probably just going to take part in that battlefield.
Hmm.
But I really don't see them destroying your city. You know?
Yeah. No. It's just not good business. Not good for business in
Yeah,
general.
it's just
It's
not
just
good
not
for
good.
business, right? Yeah. But then why did it escalate in like Israel Palestine thing? Like,
Israel
but
Palestine is
but oh yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah.
but that's a different. That's an internal matter that's been going on, right?
Okay, yeah, for sure, for sure.
But
But I also
it doesn't
yeah,
affect the rest of the world.
okay, that's what I was gonna say. It's like they're not. It's almost callous to say, but it's almost like if you're not playing in the first world, you can fight all you want.
Hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like this.
Because
If you're fight,
there's things
yeah,
happening in Africa, Sudan, or some
yeah,
area.
I was about to say, yeah,
No one's talking about that one,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
and there's
yeah.
more deaths happening there than in
Yeah,
Israel and Palestine.
yeah, totally. All right, so that's what I was gonna say. It's like it's very callous to say, but you're not in a position to affect the real money makers. Like you're not bombing our city. Like you will never attack our cities. So you can. It's almost like you have this walled castle called the First World.
Hmm.
Like if we bring it back to like Knight's time, right? And then anything that happens outside the gate of your castle is just barbarians fighting, bro. Like you do your thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like it won't actually affect us, our civility.
Hmm.
And they know that those countries know that we're so built up now that if they even dared to threaten our civility, it's like you'd be stomped out in a second.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like that's the only reason why you guys can fight there. And then I think that Asia, why I don't think they're going to see like bombs hitting Manila or something like that,
Hmm.
is because they're on the uprise. They're starting to build their own gates and like allies with the first world. Like you know what I mean? It's like a third world.
Yeah.
second world,
Yeah,
first world kind of thing. It's like
yeah.
the third world. We used to think like Asia was third world, but now it's like leveling itself enough up that it's like it's just good for business to keep it going.
Hmm.
And if you mess with business, we're
Even
really just
even even with how World War II started, I was watching this thing. It took many
oh,
many
interesting.
years too, right? Japan had
I
already
didn't.
expanded many territories before any World War II even
Wait, so you're
started.
saying that maybe World War III might happen in the future?
No, no, no. I'm saying that no one's taken anybody's territories. No one's like encroaching on it. Like
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah,
Japan
yeah,
already had so many parts of China, right,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
close towards Philippines. And then World War II had started.
I see what you're saying. So, with like World War One, World War Two, it's more like the boundaries weren't fully solidified. So we're watching slow expansions, and we're like, hey, we gotta nip this in the bud, kind
Well,
of thing, right?
the expansions were happening, but nobody wanted war, right?
No, no, totally. That's why you're trying peaceful resolution, sort of
Yes,
like
yeah, you're going for
Ukraine,
those.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then it only came to that because it's like, bro, you need to stop because we're trying to keep it within this area.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if Russia
nobody is
or Ukraine,
expanding, right? Like even Germany had expanded more territories before World War II started too.
mhm.
Nobody's expanding in that sense. They're still
Yeah,
within their borders.
yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, all right. Another thought. You know how people say that because I'm trying to think of like global cataclysm events, and one would be World War III. Or like, oh, so I'm putting that as the lowest on my list right now
Hmm.
for like how this thing could end. Okay, the next thing would potentially be like, let's say climate change. I don't think that climate change is going to really stomp us out. You might stomp out pockets, even if there was like a giant ice age. We survived that. Like humans survived that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And our ingenuity now is like such
I
as
mean,
at such a level.
that was Ice Age is extreme climate change,
Yeah, yeah, totally.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So we were there then and survived through that too. So
Yeah, totally. For sure, for sure. All right, you know what's actually really interesting? All right. We're gonna argue for both sides of climate change right now. So like it's real, it's not real.
yeah,
So because how do I preface this? So in a professional setting, we're promoting this. Like, I'm helping to promote like a climate change thingy, right? And you're gonna put ads out naturally, and then you have people that comment like weird stuff, like the Vatican knows about climate change and stuff. And I'm just like, ignore those people. Whatever, who cares? They're just like whatever. And I was like, I'm actually really, I'm like read up on both sides of the argument, and I talk to people that are in this industry who are like, okay, you are actually a researcher for this thing, so like, what do you think?
hmm
What's actually going on? But like, I didn't just take that. I like read then other books where it's like, this is just something that happens cyclically, right? So humans do contribute to climate change, but is it the catalyst that we think it is? So do we think that humans are the whole reason why climate change is happening? Or does the earth go through periods of global climate change all the time? We're just hitting that period and we're attributing our uh like our addition to it as being the thing.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
is like chicken, not chicken or the egg, like what's the real cause here? Would this have happened naturally or not without us
Yeah, I think my understanding is I think these things would happen naturally. Maybe we're
amplifying it?
amplifying it or increasing the rate that it's happening at.
Okay, totally. So it's like what was it, nature versus nurture? Both,
Hmm.
right? So like the nature of it is it does happen like according to science, every like 12,000 years.
Right. Yeah.
So we're hitting that 12,000 year period since the last ice age where it's like, okay, it's starting to change again.
Hmm.
Okay. And then um and then nurture, it's like we're also aiding to that because we're pumping more CO2 in the air. So it's not really one thing or the other. It's like it's both things at the same time.
Sure.
So even if we stopped everything at once, it's like it still kind of would happen in a specific like it would just
Yeah, yeah.
happen on its
We would
own
have to.
time.
Yeah, it would have if you want to lessen or increase the
slow it down,
time,
or
slow it down, then we'll have to
yeah,
change climate in order to make it slow down as well.
totally. But it will happen regardless of our intervention or not, or like our aid or not.
Hmm.
Like even if we're like living as like like indigenous people, it would still be happening.
You're right, right? Yeah, yeah.
We just adapt. That's
Hmm.
why indigenous people were nomadic. Okay, so I think we said this before on the podcast, which is like climate change won't hurt the Earth; it will
No, no,
hurt
no.
us,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
And other
before,
beings or other
like
other
animals,
living things.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But like but before, when we were indigenous and like we were living off the land, it was more like we weren't we're nomadic.
Hmm.
That's the word. So like, oh no, it's getting cold. Let me just go south,
Yep.
right? Even if you watch that movie, old school movie with the dinosaurs, you remember that one, Land Before Time?
Yeah.
They were trying to avoid the ice age, so
Right.
they
Right.
kept
Right.
going south. That
Hmm.
was like the story of the dinosaurs. We would have done the exact same thing too,
Hmm.
right? But now we're so entrenched with our cities that it's like
We're
we
not
want to
moving
stay where
anymore.
we are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And like we're worried about climate change because it'll affect what we've built.
Hmm.
Okay. So we've already said that World War III is probably the lowest on the list. Okay.
Hmm.
Because like really that's mutually assured destruction, bad for business. I don't think that's gonna happen. The
Yeah.
next thing is climate change. We've already survived something like that in the past. I really don't think it's gonna wipe us out. Even if we lose the grid, even if we lose all our tech, humans will survive this.
Hmm.
Do you agree? Like, there's no way it's
Yeah. We will. Yeah.
we will, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like maybe we won't have the cities we had, but we'll survive it
Yeah. As a species. Yeah.
as a species. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, next on the list, meteor impact. We can't control for that. It'll happen anytime. But I also think we'll survive. I think that's like our number one, the closest thing. Although there's this thing about like a
I
polar
mean,
shift. Yeah. Have
that
you heard of the
could
polar
be.
shift?
I think so, but you gotta remind me what it is.
Okay, okay. We'll get into that after. We'll get into fictitious scenarios now, but
Right? No, no, no.
go ahead.
With the meteor thing could be the thing that could wipe everything out.
Yeah, but it's good. Does that mean?
No, no, no. No, I mean like as a species, we won't. There's chances we won't survive that.
Right, because if it's so huge,
That's what happened to the dinosaurs.
exactly. Oh wow. Oh yeah, touche. You're right. That is how the dinosaurs died. No, 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 no. Sharks and crocodiles. They can trace. They're like and birds, sharks, and crocodiles. No, nothing will die. No, things
Okay.
will live on. Right. Even we
Right. Okay.
came from
Okay.
the mammals,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
so things will survive.
True. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Because at first I was like, yeah, you're right, damn. But then I'm like, how do we get
No,
here
but then
then?
it did. Yeah. 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 No, you're right.
Right. So we will survive it. Okay. Um.
Maybe not as a species, but as
Or yeah, maybe
that's
the
what I
next
was thinking. As
generation
I was
does.
thinking as
Yeah.
species. Yeah. Just as the
Like maybe
next.
like tech will like if like AI is able to go underground because it has no like biological stuff, so maybe it survives past. Like if we create
Yeah.
like a
If we do things
solar,
like that, that's possible. Yeah.
right, and then this world becomes all robotic in
Mm.
the future, something like that.
Yeah.
Theoretically, maybe sure. Um. Yeah. So I think even if the worst case scenario, which is like a giant asteroid or like the super volcano that everyone's worried about now, where it's like if it explodes, it'll wipe out most of the Earth. Yeah, most, but we won't die.
Hmm.
I really don't think so. And then now getting into fictitious things, which is like the polar shift. I heard something about this, but I'm like, I don't know how viable that is. Apparently, for like 7 days, the poles will flip. It does that like every 12,000 years, and then like it becomes like hell on Earth. And then that's kind of like what they attributed like Noah's Ark to, like the 7 days when he's trying to survive on Earth.
Okay.
Like the story of Noah, like he
Yeah.
built
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ark,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like had all the Some people think that was an asteroid. Some people are saying like it's a polar shift, and like whatever. I don't know if that's real. Like okay, but we still survived it. We're still here,
Hmm.
right? Basically, is my point is that we're gonna come out the other end, right?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why we're here.
Sure.
So my first thought about this whole thing is that when we talk about Atlantis,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people are like, oh, there's like ancient civilization that was so advanced, and like they created the pyramids, and like we found like in Africa where they think where Atlantis
Yeah, yeah,
was,
yeah.
right? They couldn't have been that advanced. They're not here. Unless they're the ones that are like crafting the UAPs. If it turns out that Atlantis is managing the UAPs, okay, then you survived it. You guys are the top of the food chain, right?
Sure.
But I think that where we are right now is the best civilization has ever been. Because a lot of people are like, oh man, you don't even know the ancients, bro. They had some crazy tech and they had like knowledge. I'm like, but they're not here. We're here. So how can you say that?
Right.
You know, are they going to space? Do they have, unless we find out that like we go to, the moon and you find out that there are bases on the moon built by Atlanteans. They're like, oh damn, that's crazy.
Right.
Or like you go to Mars and you're like, oh, there's like an Atlantean race from Mars. Have you heard this? Did I tell you about this? Like the theory of like, they think that the Martians, there was like life on Mars and they transported life here because their planet was dying.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Potentially viable. Like Avi Loeb said, if we go into the caves and we see cave paintings, like we'll know for sure that there were, humans on
Mm-hmm.
Mars. Like theory, okay, maybe. But going back to it, it's like, if the ancients were so great, if they knew everything, if their tech was so amazing, if you love them so much, bro, why are they here?
True.
You know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
nothing lived on past them. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know how the pyramids were built. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
it's like everyone's talking about like this lost ancient technology, sound waves, vibrations. That's how they're powering things. They're able to cut through limestone through vibration. Maybe, sure. Totally cool. That would be a whole new way to make things.
But it's
If
all
we find out,
sensational, though.
you're right, right? And it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning of the
Yeah.
podcast. It's like if you just look at it logically with the evidence, we seem to be the top dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Maybe there was a race of Atlanteans that had like the craziest stuff. Like if they had hover cars, bro, like why
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
you hover over the dying world, bro?
yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah.
didn't you make a hover base? Like what are we talking about here? Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's what those UAPs are. Maybe they're like hover bases. We won't know until we know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Sure. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they literally UAPs could be everything, anything. But if we just look at it logically, if you really had the craziest tech in the world, would you not have survived till now?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I'm looking at this whole wrong. Maybe it's like we are the descendants of the Atlanteans. Like plot twist. We are the Atlanteans. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. But what from my point of view, it's like if you were so advanced, why did you not survive?
that culture.
What?
Culture or the people?
Both tech,
Yeah,
culture,
yeah, yeah.
people, your
Exactly.
race.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
why? Unless somebody's like, actually, the Sumerians are the descendants of because the Sumerians are the oldest race. So they're like, oh, the Sumerians are the descendants of Atlanteans. They'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Now we know there's a causal chain, like there's a link we can
Mm-hmm.
trace. But nobody's saying that.
No.
So like their tech couldn't have been that good.
Mm-hmm.
Is my point,
Right, right, right.
Like
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
really try it. Like I'm watching these YouTube videos of like they were able to like hover limestone bricks through their
Okay.
minds, and you're like, bro, if you could do that, like you could have made crazier stuff than this. We could have had a floating city,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe they like people were like, oh, but the symmetry of like the way that this the what do you call it, the Sphinx, the face on the Sphinx,
Mm-hmm.
the human face. So they're like, uh it's so perfectly identical. Like when you're cutting out a face and you want to make the left side equal to the right side, it's near impossible if you're doing it by hand. But
Okay.
the symmetry is so perfect that you can literally flip in Photoshop the left side and the right side, and they're identical.
Mm-hmm.
That means whoever created that had like some genius architecture ability that they're able to make like a perfectly symmetrical face. Okay. I'm like, yeah, it's cool tech. That's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we don't know how to do that, but do you know how to make cell phones? You know what I mean? It's like, what
Right,
are we
right,
arguing
right.
for here?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of people will, um, will like there's this post of like the globe in Vegas right now where it's like it's like
Mm-hmm.
a 3D sphere and like looks at the planes as they're coming in. You know
Sure.
that thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I saw this one meme and I posted again where it's like you have the pyramids, but they're like, we don't know how to make this, but we can make this. So it's like we don't know how to make pyramids, but we can make like this Vegas thing. We've like lost our ingenuity. And I was like, bro, that's equivalent, bro. Like tell them to make that. There's no way they know how to make that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we don't know how to make the pyramids. It's just lost tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't important for us enough economically to figure that out.
Sure. Yeah.
But for them, it was important.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why they figured out how to make these limestone things. You know?
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because too many people love this like ancient stuff, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Actually, Joe Rogan said that he's like, if you look at the Eiffel Tower, though, it's like, oh no, 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 it wasn't Joe Rogan, it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, because Joe Rogan's like, yeah, but the pyramids, blah blah blah, and then Neil was like, yeah, but look at the Eiffel Tower, and Joe was like, no, but it's nothing compared to, but I'm like, yeah, but the Eiffel Tower is equally as impressive. Like, we just don't know how they made the pyramids. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're like making it more grand than it is. Like what we don't know is amazing,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that all being said, are we just afraid of our own mortality? That's why we keep thinking about like these things that these ancient civilizations and like, oh, the end of the world. It's like when you look at the through line of the whole conversation, it's just like, oh, you're just afraid of dying, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, as a subculture part of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why do we care so much? But you're living, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just live. Like that's
Uh,
the
uh,
coolest part about this whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah, 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 yeah. We it's something about we get used to our life and we think that it's just normal.
And it's boring.
Right.
You're like,
But the thing is, we're living our best lives this
yeah,
time.
yeah. But we're always like, no, the ancients knew, bro. They had something else. I think that they knew something, but I think that's like called spirituality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, but that was their science at the time. They
Sure.
don't have our science now, where you like empirical studies. We're like able to like, what do you call that? Peer reviewed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like, I think the next iteration of this, or like the next step, and what we're starting to see now is like a merger between science and spirituality. But what I mean by that is like looking at what they thought and then vetting it with our tools.
Yes.
And then that'll be like, now we'll know what's real, bro. Because there is some stuff that they knew, but we just like haven't looked into it,
Yeah.
like meditation and like,
No,
I
that's
don't
so
know.
funny that you bring
You
this
know
up
what I'm
because
saying?
I watched the whole debate between two doctors, Dr. K.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
that guy?
Oh, yeah.
And
The video
some other
game.
guy named yeah, and Dr. Mike, and they were talking about Ayurvedic medicine.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So this
Yeah.
is like ancient things, but there's a lot of it's explaining two different science in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, what we have now is as a population, we get the collection of information, and then we go to the individual, right? What
Okay.
works on the individual because it's different. Not
Yeah.
always the whatever the population is not necessarily works on the individual.
You're trying to like healing people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
While the concept of Ayurveda is like focusing on the individual first and then expanding from that, like focusing on people.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. That's really
But then,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah. Go
because
ahead.
the argument was he's not saying that all Ayurvedic medicine is good or anything. There's probably a lot of stuff that they didn't understand back in those times
Totally.
that they
Yeah.
added
Yeah.
in there. So we have our tools today to understand what can work from them,
Exactly.
as you were
Yeah.
mentioning, right? Using
Yeah.
today's tools to understand the what they understood back then.
Totally. Science and spirituality. You're like, it's just vetting what we like. Spirituality is like, honestly, it's just like, it is the science of the time. Like, people are like, oh, spirituality. It's like, no, that's just their best guess, bro. They didn't have like microscopes or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, that's the reason why they would chant is because like we call it the placebo effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
The placebo effect works,
Yeah.
but they call it chanting
Mm-hmm.
and like prayer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Same thing, same but different. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
same mechanism of action. No, same result, different mechanism of action,
Mm-hmm.
or like different explanation of it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
like this prayer is actually placebo, and then people are like, placebo's not real. It's like, then why did it work?
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's interesting that they're having that conversation, and I think the people at the forefront, and this is what really fascinated me with like Tara becoming a naturopathic doctor, is like that to me is like you're onto something
Mm-hmm.
because they understand that. So like when people hear like, oh, naturopathic doctor, like the general assumption is like, oh, they'll never touch medicine. But no, they're like, they know what markers there are. It's like, you cannot come back from this. Like
Right.
that's why Tara is so like adamant about me staying healthy, because it's like there's a point where you're gonna have to go on medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can only do so much intervention, but medicine is necessary, and that's like the step. Then you go see a doctor. It's like, man, I need some chemicals, bro.
Right.
But they're trying to like, it's the Ayurvedic approach, which is like focus on the person, like the root cause, and then we'll like go from there.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas like general medicine now is like science first, you know, like even with my sleep apnea,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
High blood pressure. Okay, we'll give you some pills. Well, actually, nobody said that they would ever give me pills, but Tara's like, you're on a trend towards having to get pills,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
yeah,
for
yeah,
high blood
yeah, yeah, I
pressure,
understand. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then, because I went to the doctor, they're like, we'd never give you pills for this. And then Tara's like, yet. But as you get older, your body's gonna get weaker, so it won't be able to bounce back, and then you're gonna go into a zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out, oh, sleep apnea. So it's like that was kind of the sign, because every time I went to like the doctors and like, hey, I think it's sleep apnea, they're like, no, there's no causal link, blah blah blah. But then for her, they're seeing studies that are like, there is a causal link, and it turned out it was correct, right?
Right.
So it's like that's the merging of science and spirituality. They're like, you need to breathe more while you're like, it made no sense, you
Mm-hmm.
know? It's like, oh, it's just air, you just can't breathe when you're sleeping. Like
Right.
you would say that as like a there's no way it can be that simple kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then it is that simple, and you're like, that's what I mean. It's like science spirituality. It's like the spirituality of like it can be simple,
Mm-hmm.
but we need to like vet it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
And I really think that it's going to progress and progress and progress, and like
Mm-hmm.
your we're gonna see a future of that, you know, like a merger between the two. Because even in like the naturopathic doctor field, like there are a lot of medical doctors who are like, she went to school with medical doctors. Like they already had medical degrees, but they went back to like get this aspect of it because they're like, oh, it actually help benefit my practice if I have both sides,
Right. Yeah, their
you
focus
know?
is on patients, right? That means they care for their patients.
Oh, you mean naturopathic doctors?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like no,
exactly.
I'm saying those doctors that went there to learn that too,
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah,
want to actually
totally.
help their patients. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're like, oh, there's like research in the zone. We're not studying this in like the
Mm-hmm.
traditional medical sense, so I'm gonna go here and
Yeah.
like study it. Yeah. And I think that's going to be the future. I think that a lot of people are going to, like, a lot of future doctors are going to like take that approach. Because even like my parents' medical doctor, like, but it's funny though, because it's always the Asian ones, right? So like, I know Tara's family's family doctor, my family's family doctor, they're both Asian,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're every time I hear them, like, oh yeah, we try not to prescribe medicine right away. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, probably because you're Asian, bro. Like you know that there's an Eastern side to this where it's like,
That's
maybe you just need
yeah,
to
yeah,
clean
yeah,
up your
exactly.
food.
Yeah,
You know what
the
I mean?
background. Yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Whereas the reason why they stopped going to my original family doctor is because they were just prescribing medicine all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you have this little thing, yeah, medicine. Oh, this medicine. And my mom's a nurse, so she's like, there's a lot of side effects with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then they found this other one, which is like, let's try intervention, and then if
Right.
that's not working, it's like the future, you
Then you
know?
go in that direction. Yeah, 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 exactly.
Right? Yeah. Um, okay, what time are we at?
1 hour.
Oh, nice. All right, not bad, not bad. Okay, one last thing I have on this list is I've noticed this happen recently. I don't know if you feel this too. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me because I like work from home, but you also have a routine. You know when you get like into a routine and it's like, especially when you're going to bed. I've noticed when we're going to bed, it's like, oh, back here again.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that it's like every day is the same.
Yes.
Back in this
Yeah, in
bed,
some way. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wake up in this thing.
Sure.
All right, we get some coffee. It's so like boring, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When you really think about it, it's like, but I see the advantage of having kids in that way because then it's like it's something new. Like they're always like at a wonder of like, oh dude, what is this? I'm
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
no, I
yeah.
gotta bring them. You know, it's
Sure.
like it gives you another task. Whereas like an evolving task because they're evolving, right? So you have to evolve your task with them. But like if you don't have kids, it's like I'm literally just living the same day every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, you could do other things like obviously travel, like change it up. But I've noticed that it's like, oh, here again, sleeping. It really put my mind to it because like it's a whole process to go to bed now because I the sleep apnea machines. It's like
Right.
you gotta like hook up the thing, gotta fill up the water, and then as I'm getting in, I was like, ah, same routine, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And it's like it's weird in that way. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah,
it's weird that we live our lives in this way,
yeah. We get habitual to it. That's how it becomes boring
right?
and normal, and we don't realize what it was like. We forget. Like we can just go get a hot shower. Wasn't like that 100 years ago.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and the wonder. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, somebody posted that about the eclipse, and they were like, "Oh my god!" Like they're kind of being like snarky about it, like, "Oh, my kids were so excited about the eclipse, oh, dummies," kind of thing. And I was like, if only we all kept that childlike wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And then they responded back like, it seems like everyone did on that day for the eclipse because we were all like looking at the eclipse again. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, it's just for me. I was like, it's just an eclipse, bro. You could find that wonder in everything. It's like, dude, I have a freaking coffee mug. When do you have that? You know what I mean? It's like, dude, that's crazy.
True.
We're like doing a pocket. You know what I mean? But we, like you said, habituate to it, and we lose the wonder of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's why the eclipse for me was so boring because I'm like, I can just find that in anything. The wonder of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
things.
Or it's like
They were
gratitude
so
and things like that. I think that's what we.
yeah, right? Yeah, yeah, totally. Like those practices, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But they had lost that, and that's why the eclipse was so wonderful for everyone because they all came together. Like, oh, you
Mm-hmm.
guys see this? You guys
Yeah,
see
yeah.
this? Like, yeah, I'm seeing it. You know what I mean? Like, but what if we woke up every day? Do you guys see the sun, bro?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we don't do that.
No.
You know, guys, I got paid. That's crazy. You know, you're like what? But you're like, but you expect that paycheck to come in all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we do habituate and lose the wonder. But I am feeling that for myself though, right now with the sleep thing, because I'm just like, what's going on? Like it's the same. And then I noticed that, but maybe it's like it's a flip because like like I'm so excited about things that are coming up that sleep is boring to me right now. And I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that like and I was gonna ask you, like, do you ever notice that sleep is like almost boring? It's like, oh dude, I gotta turn off. You know what I mean? But then we felt that way as kids.
Yeah.
Like, remember, like trying to get a kid
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
to
yeah,
bed.
yeah.
Like you would go to bed as a kid, like it's 9 o'clock. You're like, oh, but there's so much I could
Yeah,
still be
yeah, yeah, yeah.
doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You want to stay up, play that video game. You want to like stay up and like whatever. And then I noticed that like I'm feeling that way now, and I'm just like, yeah, sleep is boring, but it's because I'm excited about being wakeful. You know, it's
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm losing the habit, like I'm losing the wonder of sleep because of the wonder of something else. Like I'm not habituated to sleep where it's like, oh, this is boring in that sense. It's more like I just have more entertaining things going on when I'm awake, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And like and that's a very like childlike thing, but I'm at the age where I can actually like act on my childhood or my childlike intuition.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I've really like
Now you have the
all right,
choice to do it too.
that's what I mean, right? Like we were me and Tara were eating like I had cooked something and it was terrible. Right? It was
Okay.
like, oh, but I had made it. So we started eating it. And then at one point I was like, wait, why are we eating this? And she's like, well, because you made it. I'm like, freaking adults, bro. I could buy more like ingredients later. So he threw it out. It's like, but as a kid, remember, it's like, even if it's terrible, your parents made it though. You gotta eat it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means. Like we're able to choose and have the power to make those choices. You know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
as a
yeah,
kid, you
yeah,
would have
yeah.
always wanted to do this one thing. So go do it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally at this age now. All right, all right, here's a better framing of it. Let me ask you, when was the best year? Like, can you think back to like your best year? Where you're like, oh, dude, that was a. If I could go back to that year, I'd go back to that year.
But I'm liking what's every time something new that's happening.
You're so funny, dude. You're so funny. All right, man, we're on the same wavelength, bro. That's so funny. Okay. So Tara literally asked me that question last night, and then I was like, this year, and then she's like, well, why? What happened this year? I'm like, because this year we're living, bro. And then she was like, you're so dumb, But it's like, no, but you just don't get it. It's like, I can just choose not to do that thing. I can just choose to do this. Like, why would I want to go back to that year? Like, I had less power in that year.
Mm-hmm.
I have more power. Like, maybe maybe when I'm like old, or like if I'm like in a hospital bed, I'd be like, oh, that was a better year. Maybe. But I feel
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah. That's
that's only a
when
thought.
you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's only if you're not like liking the moment that you're in. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
because I like this moment, like even though I don't like things to come, like doctor checkups, like dentists, like these things freak me out, right? But it's like, but the more time I spend in this moment, like last year I didn't even know about numbing, like not I did know about numbing cream, but like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting more tools. So it's
Right.
like
Right. Right. Yeah.
if I jump back to when I was a child, I didn't know about numbing cream.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like subject to
You didn't know it
pain,
existed. Yeah.
right? Right? Or like if I jump back to when I was a kid, they would just be like, "Hey, jump in this dentist chair. We're gonna pull your teeth." And I was like, "What?" But now I
Mm-hmm.
could be like, "Hold up, why are you pulling my teeth? Hold up, you guys got sleeping pills? Hold up."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's choice. There's like knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like if you're continually like enjoying the things that you're doing and like learning more, it's like why would it not be this year?
Right. Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
you were like super sick. I get that point. I mean, like maybe it'd be really interesting. Like, let's say, like, all right, we're doing this podcast, and like when we're really old, and I'm like, dude, I got my chemo coming up next week. Like, it'll be really interesting to have that conversation
Right.
because that's like, can you still hold that wonder in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool about the podcast is like timestamps, and like you go back and like, whoa, we were so like full of joy, and then like you would see the deterioration of sadness. You know what I mean? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. I
that'll
get
be
that.
really interesting. But that's a real good test because it's like, can you just keep holding on to that? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. That's so funny you said that because I was like, yeah, like what? Why would it be this year? Like,
Yeah. There's more happening. There's things coming out to watch or whatever. There's
yeah.
so much that's going
And
on.
I still have access to those past years, like the past anime. Just jump back to that, or like, yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but it's like maybe it's something crazy. Like if I lost a limb, I'd be like, I wish I went to the year when I didn't have a limb, or maybe I would just be thinking like, I wish I hadn't lost that limb. I mean, like, I would just jump back to the moment before losing that limb. Like if I like put my arm out the window and it got cut off, I'd be like, oh, I just wish I hadn't done that.
Right.
Yeah, like, I don't know if I'd be like, let me jump back to the years before when I had the arm. I'd probably just wish for the arm.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends on what tech would be there after that too, right? Maybe you can
Yeah,
still
build out an arm. Yeah, totally.
still have an arm in some form.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like, yeah. All right, wow. What time are we at? I just don't want to like make us go too crazy.
Well, there's 1 hour, 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. There's this thing I noticed too. Okay, so like if we followed like normal conventions, like when you're a kid, it's like, hey man, you gotta go to sleep, whatever. Like, but as a kid, you're like, no, but I could do this if I just stayed up a little longer, right? So I noticed like this happened literally yesterday. I woke up in the middle of the night and it was 4:30, and then I was like, wait, this is the answer. And then I'll like write it down on my phone. And then I was trying to go back to sleep. And then I was like, if you woke up right now, could read that book
Mm-hmm.
and finish it. And I was like, have been loafing on that book. All right, I'm just gonna wake up really early. I'm just gonna like that's what energy drinks are for. Like I could take it easy. You know what I mean? Like whereas normal conventions would be like, go back to sleep. Like that's like a parent being like, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
But now that you have the choice and the freedom to like do those things, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna get up and then I'll just make up on the sleep tonight, which I did like last night.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it's like we literally have these freedoms. I think we said this on the podcast, like, oh no, you and I when we were living together. I was like, we can literally go outside and go buy some like Asian food right now.
Right. Yeah.
Right? It's like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
literally have choice,
Mm-hmm.
but people like stifle that choice. You know what I mean? It's like they feel like they don't have choice. They feel like they're not empowered. Like there's something there where it's like a chained elephant. You know when you like put the chain on the elephant and it grows bigger, and then like you take the chain off and it
Yeah.
doesn't leave the
Right.
area.
Right.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
like no, you literally can do anything, bro. You just don't think you can.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I
It's
can
true.
literally at this moment I could honestly just like max out all my credit cards and go live in a different country if I want to. I just run away.
Mm-hmm.
But I could, right? Just like I have the passport, just go do it, ditch the passport, live off the land. I can like go to Africa and like hide in a village or something,
Mm-hmm.
Like you have that, you can literally be that intense about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like people don't realize that. And then they have this moment of like, maybe that's what midlife crisis is when they realize they have that power and they're like, wait a minute, I can literally do anything,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Is it a weird, like, is that like totally out of the box or you get
No,
what I'm trying to
I
like
think.
say, right?
Yeah. No, it's not out of the box.
We don't feel empowered enough to do it.
Or feel
Or maybe
free,
free, right?
to do it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, enter Joy Boy. So One Piece, it hit this one point. Yes, I sent it in the chat, and then Walt was like, "Wasn't Joy Boy like Gear 5 Luffy like months ago?" So I just hit the point where he transforms into Joy Boy. When I saw that little thing, I was like, "This is so like the genius about One Piece is you're always like at first you're like that's so dumb." But
Mm-hmm.
then they explain it, you're like, oh, that's freaking genius, bro. So they call him Joy Boy. Uh, it happens all the time in the anime. Like I always like when I was watching, like catching up, I'm messaging him like, I'm done with One Piece, bro. It's so dumb. Like this scene is so dumb. And he'd be like, just trust me, keep watching it. And then all of a sudden it'll click and you're like, oh, this is the most genius way you set this whole thing up. Right. So they did it with Joy Boy too. So the reason why he's Joy Boy is because he's so full of joy. They nicknamed him the sun god because like the sun is infinite
Mm-hmm.
energy. He can literally do anything, and what they said is he's maximum joy because he has the freedom to do anything.
Right.
So like he's elastic, so he can make himself big, make himself small. He could fly, all those things. And then I was like, maybe I was just really tired because I watched it last morning, and this was like me at 4 in the morning, like getting up to read. But I was like, that's us. We just lost that joy.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we literally are all joy boys. We can do whatever we want. This is what I was trying to say with the whole like freedom. Like the reason why Luffy Gear 5 is so happy is because or like he's nicknamed Joy Boy is because he realizes his infinite potential.
Mm-hmm.
But we are stifled by that, you know?
Yeah.
But you have to accept the chaos in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like because we don't know what it'll be like. It could be like it could be like I could go there and get sick, or like there's so much unknown or chaos, quote unquote chaos, with those decisions that like we try and stick to like rigidity, but the rigidity is what kills you because then you don't feel free.
True. Yeah. Just
right. But if you
routine and
routine boredom, you're like, oh, it's the same old same. But if you just like unshackle that and you're like, well, what do you want to do? Like, what do you actually want to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like Joy Boy. Like Gear 5 Luffy, it's like, well, what do you want to do, bro? Go do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we don't think in those terms of like, what do you want to do? Go do that.
No.
Like how much psychological anguish would be easily remedied by just asking yourself, what do you want to do, and go do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I wish I could just, there it is, go do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Or how do I put this? They've lost the ability to tap into what they love, or they don't know what love is. Like love in terms of, oh no, not love, joy. Because love, we talked about, is like just letting things be.
Yeah.
But more like, what do you find joy in? They've lost what joy feels like,
Mm-hmm.
and then they don't see it in anything.
They've forgotten. Yeah.
They've forgotten, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know this person who, like professionally, I know this person, and like they don't like their situation,
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
like like economic, like work wise. Just trying to make it as like not as obvious as possible. But like, okay, they don't like their job, and every time I talk to them, they're always talking about one other thing. And I'm just like, go do that thing, bro. Like, you can't hear your joy when you're talking about that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but then they mentioned this one point where it's like, oh, but you can't make money that way, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, yeah, totally. But you
Like
you
mentally,
have
you'll be
to give
more
up
happier.
something.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, right? So it's like, well, you could never, all right, let's just take this example. Not saying this is the example, might be the example, but they're like, oh, if I just worked on a farm and just take care of these animals and like, sell milk and like whatever, like grow a garden,
Mm-hmm.
they get so happy. And then you get pulled back into the task like, well, what's the deliverable for this month? Like, oh, God damn it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm like, ooh, what's the deliverable? All right, let's do it. And they're like, why are you so like, they don't say it, but you can feel that they feel that I feel it,
Yeah.
because I'm just so excited. I'm just like, do it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm like, my responses are always like, let's go get it. All right. Make it happen, because I'm literally finding joy in this work.
Yeah.
Whereas like you feel I'm like, you're drained. And then you're like, ugh, go do that thing, bro. Because your draining is like making it difficult on me.
Yeah, it affects everything else too. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's true.
But it's like, but you can hear, but there's the crazy part. It's like, you just said it. You're just not listening to yourself. You've lost the joy. You've lost the, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
why, like what, like why they start doing the knife fighting in front of your condo?
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I was like, dude, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that'd be pretty sick. That would be pretty sick. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
But I heard myself say it. Whereas a lot of people are like, that'd be pretty sick for that. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. That's true.
That'd be pretty sick in a different life.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be pretty sick if I had money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay. That like if is like what stopped you.
Yes.
But you can hear it and they just can't hear it. You're just like, oh my God, bro.
Right.
It's so obvious.
Yeah, I think I just heard that too, where it's like you blame it on everything else, but then you realize it was you who stopped yourself.
Yes. And that's the accountability piece, which is like, it's like you are accountable to yourself, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. Like, it's not that, all right, it's not that this is the way you're supposed to live. Because you can live however you want. This is just the secret to maximizing your time with your choices.
Yeah.
Because like people are like, what's the meaning of life? It's like whatever you want it to be, bro. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
unless the alien gods come down and they're like, we actually manufactured you to like mine gold for us for our other planet. Like, okay, that's the meaning. You know what I mean? Like, until we get like a freaking decree from the gods, we'll never know.
Right.
So until that moment, it's literally life is just storytellers. Like whatever you want that meaning to be, go make that meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is a fundamental principle of like living.
Yeah.
It's like people don't know that that's the thing.
Yeah. That's the idea of living. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But like
Or
living,
the
like
meaning. Yeah.
no, but like no, right? But like actually living,
Mm-hmm.
whereas
Mm-hmm.
people are like
Yeah, yeah.
living to work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Right.
so it's
Anyway, yeah, yeah, yeah.
we work to live, bro. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like trying to make this money so I can go do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have like I have this like joke because like I have like BJ and like Ervil. Those are my two monikers, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I grew up as BJ, which is like the kid, and then like Ervil is my professional name,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I always say that like Ervil makes the money, BJ spends it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like literally working so I can live, not living to work,
Right.
you know? But
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people are just like they just like feel like chains in this thing.
Yeah. Again, yeah, that's a forgotten thing. They've
Yeah,
forgotten
right?
what makes
But is that the
life
red pill
joy.
of the Matrix? You know when like the Matrix, like the blue pill, you go back to sleep, wake up, believe whatever you want to believe, or you take the red pill and you stay in Neverland, and I show you how deep this rabbit hole goes. It's like
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
really what it is, you know? It's
Yeah.
like that's the
Mm-hmm.
one thing. It's like, do you
Mm-hmm.
want to be chained or do you not want to be chained?
Right.
You're and like
I
this is
agree.
the Matrix,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? But like it's not sunshine and rainbows if you take the red pill though. Like Neo literally woke up and he had to eat porridge, whereas he could eat steak in the Matrix.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's why one day I
Right?
wanted to
Like
go back. Right.
exactly. Because he's like, bro, it's not for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
like sad, it's not for everyone. Bro, The Matrix is like the best philosophical movie ever. Because there's so many takeaways for it, right? And like, but that's really it. It's like we all want the freedom, but it's like, dude, there's a cost to freedom as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see how the world works. Like, oh, I'm being conned here, or this costs this much, and like I have to give up this to have that. You know,
Yeah.
there's safety and security in the blue pill, but you gotta accept the chaos if you're taking the red pill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Or you know who you are as well, because like I know people who like consciously take the blue pill, where it's like that's a lot of chaos for me. I should take this because this is just safer. You know, and I'm like, I totally respect that because, like,
But that's a
it's
choice.
not like it's
But
right. You chose that pill. It's not like you're like taking the pill and you're like, why does this world suck? It's like
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're eating the blue pill, you don't even know you're eating the blue pill, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can see it, you're like, no, I prefer this. Like, you know, freelancing versus employment work. Freelancing, you're chasing people down for money. You're more free. You have more free time, but
Mm-hmm.
like you're chasing people for that money. Whereas if I take the blue pill, you have salaried work. I'd rather take the blue pill, bro.
Yeah.
I've seen the red pill on this one. We're taking the blue pill.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier, you know. But like that's conscious choosing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird freaking rant. It was hitting me like because I'm
Yeah.
like we have so much fear. Like, why did I wake up at 4, bro? Like, what? Who does that? Because I woke up and I was like, I woke up at 4, and Tara's like, you're gonna be tired all day. I'm like, I know, it's fine.
But like, yeah,
But
it's
like,
like I like getting up.
I
You
mean,
know, not like
every morning.
waking. Yeah. Yeah. If you hate
Yeah,
getting up,
totally,
that's not a good sign.
100%, 100%. And the people that don't, and you snore, I highly implore you to check out getting a sleep apnea machine because I hated getting up every morning because I woke up tired, and then when you wake up tired, you're
Right.
like, oh, I gotta do that thing today. Oh my god!
Mm.
And then like, but that's how you also build the tools because I still had to wake up and do those things. So I have to like, okay, what am I gonna use to like make myself go through this mud? You know, like the adversity is what builds resilience, or not. So like
Right.
waking up every morning tired, because when you say I love waking up, I'm like, I only recently started feeling that way because of the sleep apnea machine, bro. For real. Like I was telling my dentist the other day because I went to the dentist and I was like, yeah, I just got a sleep apnea machine. And she's like, oh, how is it? And then like, how's it for recovery? I'm like, No. How is it for sleep? And I was like, oh, my recovery has been like, because of jujitsu, right? I would wake up like, oh, I'm so
Beaten up.
sore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I don't. I'm like, oh, this is what people feel? This is
Mm.
crazy. And I heard that too. People who are like Joe Rogan's like, when you get a sleep apnea, because he was on sleep apnea, he's like, when you realize what people have been feeling, you're like, how have I been missing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to drink like multiple cups of coffee, energy drinks, just to like
Right. Yeah.
survive,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
listen to music,
Yeah.
you know? I'm like, oh, dread, like every day is, even though I do a lot, but it's like, oh,
Yeah. And
but now it's like,
I never took coffee.
right? But I didn't understand. I was like, how do people not survive? And it's like, oh, it's sleep, bro. It's literally sleep. Like, I don't even finish a full thing anymore. It's like maybe half, and I'm good. I
Mm-hmm.
drink the energy drinks for the podcast, so like more lively. But like in my day to day, I don't really touch that anymore. And it's like, this is what you've been feeling, bro. Because I was like, how do you not get coffee, bro? What? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dying, you know? But you had like real
I
sleep.
never understood that. Yeah. That's why I was like, for me, it's like
It's really sleep. Like, that's why I
good
keep
sleep is
pushing
I'm
sleep.
up. Yeah.
Bro, I know. And you can even catch it. So like people are like, if you miss like a day of sleep, you're gonna be like done for
Mm-hmm.
a whole week, right? So I woke up. It wasn't even like a lack of sleep. Like I had on my watch, it said I slept for like 4 hours, 57 minutes. And people do that. So when I saw it, I was like, meh, I can do it for today. It's
Yeah.
not like I have like 1 hour sleep, you know.
Mm-hmm.
People literally sleep like very little and they
Yeah.
operate.
Right.
And then but because of the recovery of this thing, like I was able to bounce back like from last night to today, and I'm like, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, quality sleep, man. I was being held out on. I didn't know. Now I can understand. Like I might even just like I will never do it, but I could see how somebody would drink just tea or like
Right.
nothing.
Or
But
water.
yeah, yeah. It's totally like you really don't need the coffee if you have adequate sleep.
Sure. Yeah.
Crazy. Sleep is boring, but it's so necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. Any last things that you thought were crazy? Formula Ones right now, or
In China.
um,
Yeah.
is it 12-hour difference, or are they trying to keep it within like a range?
I don't know what time it is. I think the race would be at 3 a.m. for us if you
Oh,
watch it
okay.
live.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, you're catching up on it.
Yeah. The qualifying happened, so I was just watching the recap.
Oh, okay. I thought you were watching it live, and I was like,
No.
oh wait. Are you watching Civil War? Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, cool. Are you gonna watch it this week or not really? You're like not really thinking about it.
I do want to watch it if you guys are watching it.
Okay. Oh, okay. We're watching it Wednesday. Potentially. Your brother was like kind of iffy. He's
Oh,
like
okay.
maybe Wednesday.
Yeah.
So like I guess Tuesday we'll see if we're gonna watch
Sure.
it. Yeah. It looks good. I don't think it's a continuation from what's that movie that came out?
No, it's the
The
Obama movie. Is that what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah. That's so funny. I was gonna say Obama movie too. Yeah.
I don't know the name of it now.
I don't know either. No Way Home or so whatever the Obama movie that came out on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah.
We were saying like, is this the continuation? I don't think so.
No, I think I said it as a joke. Like this is what reminds me of what's coming.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
But I don't
it
know
would
how
be
the
cool if they
movie's
tied them
like, so we'll
together.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be a cool thing. All right, yeah. We'll message offline about that because your brother's still on the fence, so we'll see. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, till next week. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.